Hi, my name is Lauren Fairweather. You can call me Ren. I am a visual artist, graphic designer, content creator, and singer-songwriter. And one of the reasons why I have a hard time explaining to people what I do is that I do a lot of different things, and I like trying new things. So this is kind of an assortment of the visual art I've been doing lately in a more traditional media. I also like drawing in digital, but I've been doing a lot of journaling, urban sketching, art journaling, trying to do a little bit of painting. That's a bit out of my wheelhouse. I'm more of a inky sketcher, and I have been wanting to use more color lately, so I've been practicing a lot. And a big part of that experience is getting comfortable with not loving everything that I'm making. And I will talk more about this as I go. I'm going to actually do a piece of art here for you on the Marvy Uchida YouTube channel. Today, I am going to do something that I do when I am not really sure what I want to draw, but I know I want to make something. And once I've narrowed down the supplies that I want to use and get seated and find some quiet, I like to draw just what's in front of me. Cute things, or interesting art supplies, or just something that caught my eye and made me smile in some way or another. And I also like to, when I'm doing these drawings, to not be so tough on myself. I like to try new things, which means sometimes it's not going to turn out the way that I expected it to. I haven't gotten a ton of practice drawing these specific items. In fact, I've never drawn these items before. So we're going to see how they turn out, you and me. And usually I find that I want to have some sort of sketch before I ink it, and I like to do that in a really light colored pencil. That way it just kind of blends in with the finished work and I don't have to erase it and risk smudging everything. The other thing I really love about drawing just items that I have around the house is that it allows you to kind of see the beauty in the mundane, the things that are always surrounding us. And you might not necessarily look at your bag that you keep your art supplies in and say, look at that bag, I love that bag. I am grateful to that bag for holding the things that allow me to do what I like to do. Or just look at these beautiful scissors, they're so pretty. And I'm making an intentional choice to purchase those items and put them in my space, but also to spend some time with them and to notice things about them that maybe I wouldn't have noticed if I hadn't sat down and tried to draw them. You have to really look at something when you're drawing it. And I also have learned through this process that I prefer to have a reference when I am drawing. I tend to get more frustrated when I'm drawing from my imagination because I think that's harder for me personally to do. And so this is a really good exercise for me to get practice with drawing things that I can see in front of me and finding an interesting way to duplicate that. Even if it's not completely realistic, it's the way that I see it and the way that I am able to duplicate it on the page. So now we are entering the part of the drawing that I am very comfortable with, which is tracing over the sketch that I just did with some kind of fine liner. And so I am just showing off the sketch because if I ruin it, at least we'll see what it looked like before. So Marvy Uchida makes this set of Le Pen technical drawing pens, and I ended up starting with the 1.0 millimeter width. Usually when I am drawing an item like this, I like to go around the outside with a thicker line and then add shading and details with the thinner ones. So I like that this set came with a lot of options. I also usually don't draw on this large of a scale. I'm usually drawing in smaller sketchbooks, so I think I will do a better job of varying the line widths when I am working on a smaller piece of paper. But I wanted to make sure you could see what I was doing, so big paper it is. You may have noticed that I'm already being candid about the idea of messing up this drawing, and that is for multiple reasons, but I didn't want to come on here and do something perfect and make you feel intimidated or like this isn't something that you can try. I want to encourage you to try making art yourself. I have personally found that when you're trying something new, there can be this feeling, especially as an adult, that if you're not great at it right away, that it's not worth your time, and time and practice are the best ways to get better at something. We know this. So for the better part of the last year and a half, I've been making it my goal to be happy with what I'm making regardless of the end result. Some of that is just enjoying the process. Some of that is looking at what I've created in a new way. For example, I found that if it turns out kind of messy or I do something weird or it's not exactly what I wanted, I have to look at it and say, you know what? I'm the only person who can do this the way that it has just been done. Maybe it wasn't intentional, but that's okay. There is still value in it, and every time I do it, it will be less unexpected. And that is how you build your confidence, and that is how you end up with interesting pieces of work, by actually sitting down and doing them. What's the worst that can happen, honestly? This is a pretty low stakes situation that we have here. So I'm just gonna keep at it and we'll see how it turns out. So here's where I take a huge leap of faith and take what I think turned out to be a really nice, neat ink drawing, and I'm gonna color it in with a supply that I have never used before. I have wanted to try alcohol markers for a really long time, so this seemed like a good opportunity to do it. And honestly, if I hadn't been sitting here making this video, I probably would have waited a lot longer to try these out, because I do get intimidated by supplies like this. I don't know why. They're here for fun, so I just wanted you to know that. And some of these individual pieces ended up turning out really cool. The marker set that I got happened to have the perfect color for these scissors, so I'm really happy with how those are turning out. I'm also loving this little ink bottle. He's so cute. And maybe the fact that I didn't have a million shades of this same blue was a good thing, because I didn't overthink what should go where based on the lighting and all of that. I just colored it in. And this paint palette that I have has speckles on it. They're just brown speckles in real life, but this isn't real life, this is art, so I chose a bunch of fun colors instead. Also, my cat tried to help. He has thumbs. His name is Sam. Probably my favorite thing about these alcohol markers so far is that I can just take the same marker and go in and add shading. I don't have to think about what color the shadow is going to be. They're just transparent enough that I can kind of layer the color. So once I finished up with the color, I decided that I wanted to go in with the brush tip drawing pen that's in the set, and I'm just gonna add that thicker line I was talking about earlier that I really do like to have around objects when I'm drawing them. I feel like it gives them more character, especially with a brush tip, because it's not going to be such a specific line width the way it is with the fine liners. It does look messier. I did have a few sections where I didn't end up with exactly the line I was hoping for. It takes a lot more wrist and arm control to use one of these brush pens. But I find that it gives my art a lot more personality than just using a fine liner, so I've committed to the fact that this is on this drawing. It's already there. I can't undo it. So we're gonna run with it, and it's gonna be fun. The last step is definitely my favorite part. I love the way adding hatching for shading can completely transform a drawing. It's like magic. Even if I'm not feeling 100% about the way it looks, once I add some like silly little parallel lines or crossing lines in places where there are shadows, I don't know, it transforms the entire drawing. And I ended up being so happy with it after this. I was not feeling it after the color, to be honest, and the brush line work, it's unpredictable. As I said, it adds personality, but it's unpredictable. Adding all these little hatching lines just makes me so happy, and I can do them kind of quickly now that I've gotten a lot of practice. And maybe I don't always put them in exactly the right places, but once I look at the drawing as a whole, it ends up looking more of what I was hoping it would after I add these. My favorite step, for sure. It just, I don't know. It brings the whole thing together. I also ended up being really happy that I did the hatching after the color, because I did get a little bit of smudging. I don't think I fully waited for the ink to dry when I started doing the alcohol markers, so this is a good decision on my part, and definitely something that I learned through this process. Also, as I'm sitting here watching the video, recording the voiceover, I kind of love watching how quickly I can do this. This is the one part of the video that I didn't speed up, and it's, yeah, this is real time. And here is the finished art piece. I really like the way that the composition came together, and that's another reason why I really love drawing lots of objects like this. You don't have to plan out the composition ahead of time. You can kind of just take it one item at a time and find other items that fit in the holes that are left. I think that this could be a really great way to document either a collection that you have, or maybe things that remind you of people. If you want to give them a gift, you can draw like things that make you think of them. If you'd like to see more of what I make, you can follow me on Instagram and other social media at Lauren FairWX. I also have a YouTube channel under that name, and Journal Sunshine if you like journaling and paper and pens. Follow along with Marvy Uchida's YouTube channel to see more creative ways you can start your art journey today.